dressing room. Yeah, this is the smaller studio.
We're just focusing on Omar, and we're looking for that infamous moment that has gone viral when she's giggling. But there's a reason for it. So as she walks into the room, one, she's not first, she's following. And for the first time, we hear her try to interact on room size, which is not unusual. But if you never hear someone try to interact with anyone on anything as irrelevant as a room size, it's a flag. And so now it's something that we need to watch and look for more flags that confirm the suspicions that are starting to build up. Now they're all filing in. No one is interacting with her. They're not giving her a reassuring smile. They're not giving way. They're pretty much ignoring her presence. They're just following in as if she were a chair.
It's more room. Just move over a little bit.
We even see part of the squad come in, AOC, and she's avoiding eye contact. And she is not giving reassurance at all. Now, Omar, because as we're starting to see, her rank, her position of power is now compromised. What started it, what sparked it, we don't know.
Peter, there's more room. Okay, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Pramila Jack.
We saw her interaction with Tlaib as she came in and saw her. Tlaib gave her eye contact. She did not avoid her, but she didn't say hello either. So their relationship, as is, looks to be unchanged.
Not content with just destroying decades of diplomacy by pulling out of the JCPOA, and I think it's important to recognize that the JCPOA was in existence for 5 years. There were significant advancements being made slowly, but with concerted effort, and all of that has been destroyed. In addition to...
Now, while this individual is speaking, Omar is petting herself continuously as she's looking around, not in that prideful head-up position anymore. We're seeing stress, constantly looking around, head is slightly down at an angle, and we're petting ourselves.
The assassination of Qasem Soleimani, utilizing false authorization that they have claimed to be the 2002 AUMF, which, let's be clear, was about Iraq and does not provide authorization for attacks on other countries. Second point, and I mentioned this a little bit earlier, all of this has made us less safe. Some of what we have wanted to understand is what exactly was presented to the president in terms of...
And watching her look around, too, she's avoiding the press corps. She's avoiding eye contact with almost everyone. Whatever it is that has put her in this position is not only from the inside, but it's the outside as well. And what I mean by inside the Democratic Party versus outside the Democratic Party.
The implications of an assassination like this and all of these actions that have been taking place, does it make us more safe in the end or not? And it is very clear to all of us in the Progressive Caucus that where we are today is significantly worse, and that the results of the strikes last night were devastatingly predictable given everything that we know.
So now we're trying to mentally gather strength in our mind. She stands up a little taller. She picks her chin up, and we'll see how long she keeps it.
Already. Third, that the Congressional Progressive Caucus calls for an immediate...
So she pets herself on her arm and then goes right back down. Usually what that means, when you pick yourself up and you're trying to give yourself mental strength, you're also at the same time looking for reassurance that, the leader has stood. I must bow down. And if you don't see it, then it's usually disguised as a stretch, and you go back down and reassure yourself.
That the threat we face is significant. You will hear later from Representative Lee. And I think all of us remember, and I certainly cut my teeth as an activist working on that Iraq war.
So she looks behind her with a smile, whatever it was, I'm assuming from the speaker's mouth, because the other lady is smiling too on the other side of her, and no one looks to her. No one. And you see AOC. Doesn't look like we see movement from her, even though we can only see parts of her body.
We just left a classified briefing, and I think many of us left with the same questions we came in with and didn't get more answers on the imminent threat. In fact, every time we were told, absolutely, there's an imminent threat, you should just see the information. It's really imminent. And nothing was shown to us.
And again, here we see her looking to all of them, looking for someone to give feedback and reassurance to her. Kind of makes me think, with seeing that whatever was in this debriefing that they just got, that it reflected badly on her, whether it was a strong accusation or an innuendo. I'm not sure.
The president said he was going to end these endless wars and bring troops home. And in the last 6 months, depending on the number you look at, 14 to 15,000 more people are in the Middle East right now than they were 6 months ago. Again, leading to distrust on this president and his understanding of.
So, the other member of the squad, has stepped in. Tlaib interacts with her first and gives hug. You see about the same time, Omar reaches over to touch, and AOC lightens up to join her in. And so you see that there's been a power shift, that Omar's pretty much lost her status. And now really it's the three. And remember what I said the first time we did a squad video. More reaffirming who's the boss. Sorry, go ahead. Yeah, Gold will be fighting for that position eventually. And she probably will win, because I don't think these three will see it coming. And then they'll drive the way that she wants to have it driven. But that's enough of this. We've now figured out who the boss is, who wants to be the boss, and who is never going to be the boss. And whatever opportunity has presented itself to Tlaib, she's now at that situation that she can take it, because the other two are interacting with her in a positive way and not avoiding her. Whereas Omar is still looking for reassurance from the Dems themselves.
And we have, as a progressive caucus, especially leaving this briefing where, again, no information was given on the imminent threat. What we were told, and this is something I think you've all been told, is this decision was made on Article 2 and on the 2002 AUMF. And they're continuing to say that is the rationale, plus information they have, which they have yet to give to us. When I went to the SCIF this morning and read the thin 2 pages of information, there was nothing in there that described.
I'm starting to think that whatever it was in the briefing, because Omar is starting to do some really heavy breathing. She's got a lot of mouth stress that she's pulling out. You see the one lady that was the speaker, the stress that's coming in on her.
It's so hard to make sure that we deny the funding to the administration as it relates to the military action that is taking place in Iran, unless they come to Congress for authorization. Congressman Ro Khanna, thank you very much.
It's an honor to follow Barbara Lee. I often say if a sequel to Profiles in Courage is ever written, Barbara Lee would be chapter 1 for her solitary vote.
Amen. Yep.
So she's trying to touch the lady. Ha ha ha, I'm with you with this joke. She's wonderful, Barbara Lee, blah, blah, blah. Barbara Lee does not look at her and give her hugs back or touches or anything.
With that, I want to introduce someone who has shown remarkable leadership along with Representative Barbara Lee, and is going to be one of the critical people shaping our War Powers resolution that I think will have broad support in the caucus, Representative Omar.
Thank you.
Those were tight smiles when it comes to introducing her. Tight smiles. No reassuring smiles, no touches, just tight smiles.
Ro, I feel ill a little bit because of everything that is taking place, and I think every time I hear about I hear of conversations around war, I find myself being stricken with PTSD. And I find peace knowing that I serve with great advocates for peace and people who have shown courage against war. In 19 46, shortly after the
And the woman actually keeps smiling at her. I wouldn't put that as an ally. She just may be that personality type without actually continuously watching her. The assumption now is that she has that personality type that it is my duty to reassure. No matter if I agree or disagree with the individual, I have to reassure. It's like a humanitarian thought process.
And whether he publicly says he wants nothing to do with wars or that he wants to end endless wars, we know that his actions are contradictory to his statements, because every single person he's surrounded himself with has been itching to go to war with Iran. And this is a man who is both an arsonist and a fireman. He starts a crisis, then he wants to create the appearance of wanting to solve it. He's done that here. Our ability...
That one woman in the black, she's driving me nuts. She looks over at Omar. Her eyes go down and up. I don't think she could stand her. I'm going to look at you and swirl away. She's not giving her any reassuring nods as far as an agreement to anything she's saying, even though she practically said the same thing. The gentleman in the purple tie, he's giving agreements to the statements that she makes, but he's got like a sideways smile. It's a reluctance to agree. And AOC is in the back, not giving anything.
The world is asking us to act differently this time, and it's our duty to show up and make sure we do. Thank you, and I think we're going to open up to some questions.
Thank you so much, and thank you to all of our members. And so we're open for questions.
So the fourth member of the squad embraces her and gives her that really big reassurance. Talib, the one that had been positioning herself for power, a touch, more like you would see a leader touch a subordinate. So she's already claiming the leadership spot. And you see AOC through that obviously didn't give her much at all, other than a forced smile.
I was part of the 132 and also the vote for Barbara Lee's amendment. But I think that the point of that is that is the same war that we're dealing with today. We never solved any problems with AUMF. We left 4,000 plus, maybe 4,400 dead, and over 60,000 who came back injured in some form. And the war never ended. As I recall the language in AUMF, it deals with hostilities in Iraq. It doesn't deal with an incident or...
We skip the questions because they're boring. But while the questions are coming in, they're relying on her to answer questions, which means that she's still part of the decision-making process because she's got the answers. So it has given her a sense of importance. I'm still the one answering questions. My totem that I stand on has not been completely eroded. Now the woman in red has come up to speak. And Omar, with this new sense of, my totem is still there, is now trying to interact with her squad. It has given her a sense of power. Now she's going to interact in an inappropriate way, because that means if you are supposed to be quiet and listening and giving respect to someone who's got supposedly more power than you, which is the woman in red, but if you can be inappropriate and rude and have others be rude with you, it means your power is more than the person speaking. You see the lady at the front left is becoming very uncomfortable as she holds onto the podium, defiantly turning away from the squad to show disapproval. See, everyone else are trying to ignore the inappropriateness.
A dislike or someone in a car coming in from the airport. That is the danger of not acting. And I do think with our leadership, meaning the leadership of CPC, that we'll come together around specific answers, if you will, or documents, if you will, to vote on, because it's a question of saving lives. I want to finish on this.
Now she's folded her arms. She's holding herself, but she's no longer petting for that big reassurance. Smile, the power is back. And she gets worse as she goes through this. But that's basically what it is. She's gotten to where she's reassured just by the sheer fact that she is asked questions that she can answer and be that voice of, I have the answers, which is a position of power. And I can interact in a way that's inappropriate with someone who's supposed to have more power than me. Even though it's only two people in her little mind, she can't figure out that the people with the big balls aren't encouraging the behavior. Only time will tell if her position is given back to her or if she loses it completely.
If you'd like to learn more about analysing body language, there is a video course available on Mandy's website for Gold subscribers, where Mandy teaches more about her techniques of deception detection. There's also other content such as the Crime series and Interesting Minds series, available to both Gold and Silver subscribers.
If you like it, please share and subscribe. Thanks for watching.